Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in this video, we're going to be doing a follow-up to our previous video where we talk about efficient stuff to farm already. In this video, I want to tell you directly what I salvage on a daily basis and what I actually keep, and I share with you my reasons why. In case some of you actually have your inventory like filling up, you want to know actually is there a quick way to actually sort everything. And there is a super fast way, and this video I'm going to share with you some tips. The first biggest tip of all is the odds of getting that relic, and that's how I do the first filter. The odds of getting a good helmet, you can see I have nothing here, and a good glove is very high. Why? Is because if you notice, your body, your boots, your planisphere, as well as your link rope all have varying min stats. Whereas for the helmet as well as the gloves, they have fixed min stats, which means to get the substats correct is a higher probability, and they are also in the 4-piece domain, making them much easier to farm. So first priority, just get rid of hats, gloves that are not very crucial. I will layer on more criteria later on, of course, but these two are generally the lowest priority. Secondly, the body and the boots have a lower priority versus the planispheres and link rope. If you think about energy to one relic is the same, because the probability of you getting a good body and boots is much likely similar because of the very main stat to like a planisphere or link rope. Yeah, there are some mathematical differences because of the number of mean stats that could occur and blah blah blah. But why I say body and boots is easier is because the time taken for you to farm a 4-piece domain is way less than the time taken for you to farm a 2-piece domain. Imagine running the entire simulated universe and getting like 4 rolls. In that time, you could have just auto-battled way more 4-piece domains. So it's much easier to farm 4-piece gear than good 2-piece gear, and that is like another rule of thumb, which places the priority definitely on planispheres and link ropes in terms of stuff that you want to keep. And you can see that in my list also. I have a lot of planispheres, a lot of link ropes compared to the other stuff that I keep on my account. So that's the overall like first arcing rule that I have, and I have a pretty good amounts of max leveled relics so far, so I only keep things that I really care about. This advice probably will be applicable to most people that have at least some gold gear. You're maybe AR like almost close to like 70 already, playing for at least a good 3 months. That's when the advice is most applicable. If you're a newer player, check out our previous videos on the channel. There's more videos that are catered directly to you guys. But majority, as we did a poll, like 70% of you are day 1 players. That's crazy. So anyways, the second thing that I always do is ask myself how popular and how desirable is the set. For those of you who haven't seen our previous video, I'll just give you like a very quick summary of popular sets. But if you want to check out more details on like the data analysis, the previous video is very good for that. So popular sets are, for example, like 4-piece, you have your Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters, Prisoner in Deep Confinement is popular as well for these sets. So 1, 2, Genius of Brilliant Stars is also quite popular. Messenger Traversing Hackerspace is super versatile. And of course, you have your more niche sets like Champion Streetwise Boxing, you have your Ash Blazing Grand Duke, Longevous Disciple, and now Watchmaker is getting a bit more popular as well. So these sets in general are the more desirable sets, so I would tend to place a higher priority on keeping those sets as well for the 4-piece. If you're interested in the 2-piece, check out our previous video, there's more filtering there. For any of you who are like watch that, I don't want to waste your time too much. I just want to go back and give you as much value as I can, as quickly as I can too. So that being said, not all gloves are worthless. What gloves do I actually keep? So on a I don't want to say useless set, but on a less desirable set like Thief of Shooting Meteor, for example, and if any of you are like listen in the background, don't worry about like looking at all the substats and stuff. You follow my voice, more or less will get most of the value already. If you are looking for pictures, then is when the screen is going to be a lot more helpful. Some of you commented on the previous video saying you wanted more images, so that's why I'm doing it in this format this time to try it out. So the Thief of Shooting Meteor, I like to keep stuff that is generally good in substats, even though it's not super popular for the set. It might not be like everyone can use it. I want to keep good substats. So this one, as you can see, has like a 9 crit rate and 12 crit damage, which works out to be somewhere around like 30% crit value already. So roughly 2 rolls in the crit rate, and I think roughly like 1 or 2 rolls in the crit damage. That's very high efficiency, and 1 roll into attack. So very usable across the board for anyone that I just want to slap on last minute to be a bit of a semi DPS. So that's why I generally want to keep. If I see like attack, crit rate, crit damage as the subs, definitely I'm keeping that. More often than not, it becomes a pretty good gear. So good sets, for example, like this Prisoner in Deep Confinement, I tend to keep it most of the time and try to like roll it, especially if I can get a good one, because I know a lot of characters will eventually want to use this. Same for Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters. If I can get a mediocre one, it's much better getting a pretty mediocre Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters, because I can always like just roll it around my whole account, since debuff is quite meta right now. So that is like some thoughts on the gloves and the helmet. So that's the second overarching. On weaker sets, less popular sets, look for subs. On stronger sets, you can be a bit more lenient in terms of your filtering criteria. The third category and third thing that I filter is I always keep my speed boots. I have no idea whether I can filter all this, but let's just see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Okay, I have almost like 4 rows of fully maxed out boots. And let me just do a quick filter for you real quick, and we can see that out of that almost 4 rows, almost 3 rows, or like it was like 3 rows and 2. Here I have 2 rows and 3 pieces of speed boots, which means it shows how popular speed boots is. Almost everyone uses it. My Zealer uses it because I'm too lazy to just go back and farm this quantum domain. It might not be the most efficient, but for me, efficiency matters a lot because I build every single character in the game. I have no time to like farm other ones. But generally across the board, speed is generally usable by most characters. It's not unusable like HP percentage on a DPS and stuff like that. So I would say speed boots, you want to keep them regardless of how dog shit they are, especially if they are on a popular set. So your Messenger, Traversing, Hackerspace, speed boots, these are probably like your kings, your champions. These I would definitely keep this regardless because it's on a super versatile set, and also it's a very generic main stat. So that is like king boots that I'll have. What then, other than speed, because most people kind of know that speed is very valuable, what other stuff do I keep? I tend to keep anything with like a main stat that is defense, attack, HP, that it has maybe like a crit rate, crit damage line, because it could eventually be used by a DPS that doesn't scale with speed. Maybe you have Bronya, you have, for example, Sparkle who pushes them up. In that case, speed becomes much less desirable, and then I will gravitate towards the stuff that have crit rate, crit damage. Unfortunately, these 2 boots here are on a DOT set, which means that I might not be able to utilize the crit rate, crit damage as much if it's like a DOT team composition, because DOT doesn't crit. But that's why it's level 0. If not, I have leveled up the rest already. And other than that, like for example, you see this like defense, crit rate, crit damage, Ash Blazing Grandude. If this was attack, I probably would have taken it up already straight away because it's very, very usable by a lot of characters. Like this one here, for attack percentage, Ash Blazing Grandude, I slapped it on Himiko with a good amount of crit rate, crit damage. So that's like the thought process for the body and the boots. The Link Rope and the Planisphere is where it gets a bit trickier. Let's start with the easier one. The easiest one to know is anything that has attack percentage for your Link Rope, and it's likely going to be valuable, especially if it's on a DPS set. So think about the set. If it's a DPS set, attack percentage is probably your king. If it's a defensive set, supportive set, energy restoration rate is king. If you're in doubt, energy restoration rate likely will always be king because it's just so versatile. Almost every single character has energy restoration in the game as well. So let me just show you. I have, how many rows do I have of my Link Ropes here? 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of Link Ropes, and I'm just going to show you if I filter, for example, by energy restoration rate and attack percentage, I have almost 3.5 rows out of 4 rows are energy restoration rate or attack percentage. And these all like coincides with the information that I shared previously in the efficiency video, that most characters in the game use attack percentage or energy restoration rate. And this, my account actually just shows it, the action of a player who has been playing for about a year has been farming those things indeed. So you want to keep attack percentage and energy restoration rate more often than not for your Link Rope. The niche ones, for example, like your HP percentage, defense, and HP percentage, defense probably are the least valuable. I would say that unless you have a really god tier one with like perfect crit rate, crit damage rolls, and you're waiting one day for a HP percentage scaling character, yeah, I guess you could. Otherwise, I wouldn't hold up the hopes. Maybe you just need like one good one and then roll it up to 15. If you already have a level 15 one waiting, don't bother like keeping the rest of them, because it's just wasted resources in your inventory holding like 5 defense gears with crit rate, crit damage at level 0. Just check 1, check 2 of them. Once you find, keep the best one out of all of them for the one day hopium that one of them comes out. The one that is tricky is Break Effect. Why do I say Break Effect is tricky? I keep the most amount of Break Effect in my account because Break Effect is so unrewarding to focus farm. It's not easy to get Break Effect as well, and to get a Break Effect with nice subs, very, very difficult. this is where like I would say my advice is like half-half. The probability of a very, very strong break DPS needing break is okay to come out in future. But at the same time, break effect is neither here nor there. You don't really know whether to farm a damage set or whether a supportive set to buff break effect. So you end up like keeping everything break effect with a decent amount of subs here, as you can see. Like as long as it has crit rate, crit damage, I tend to keep it. It's a lot of wastage, but if one day, and it seems like Hoyoverse does intend to like shift it a bit more to the break effect side of things, with like Rami being added, Watchmaker being added, maybe new characters that want to skill with break effect being added. But still, energy restoration rate is just very difficult. So at this point, I won't recommend or don't recommend break effect. It's up to you. I personally keep it because maybe it might shift into that way and I just want to be prepared. But I understand that like free-to-play players or small spenders that don't refresh on a daily basis might not have that choice. So you can go ahead and like shove it down, and you can always like exchange for the main stat later on for that small probability that break effect does become more valuable. Planisphere. Oh, Planisphere is a tough one because this is the one that you want to keep as much as you can. There are so many sets in the game and so many characters. Every set, ideally, that is meta, you want to keep one of each element, which is super, super difficult. And not only the elemental ones, if you look at the main stat here for Planispheres, every single thing is useful. The lowest, some will argue, is attack percentage might be the lowest, especially if you already have a lot of damage percentage. Unless you have like a lot of damage percentage sources already, maybe attack percentage comes in, but by and large, I would say attack percentage is the least for majority of people as a rule of thumb. Your elemental damage bonuses is you can't pick what you have, it's depending on the characters your account gives you, especially if you're a free-to-play player. And your HP and defense here is used by a lot of supports to get just that beefiness in their overall account too. So this is a tricky one. I would say personally my recommendation is to keep as much Planispheres as you can, especially on popular sets. So what do I mean? Like sets, for example, like Firmament Frontline Glamour, which we talked about in a previous video. We say it's a very popular set because when you have a character like Esther, you can immediately get this 160 speed as a free-to-play just by pushing your whole team, which gives you a lot of damage. Some argue that now with Sparkle coming into the meta, this might not be as good as it was. Maybe a set, for example, like Inert Sal Soto could be valuable. A set like Broken Kill could be valuable because of the crit damage buff that you get. I don't disagree. I think it's a possibility as well. But do you have Sparkle and Bronya? That's an important question on both sides of your teams. Otherwise, I think Firmament Frontline Glamours is a pretty general set to farm. So I keep as much Firmament Frontline Glamour as I can. I keep Inert Sal Soto as well back when I was farming it. As you can see, I do have like a bit 1-2 here when way back in like when it was first released. I farmed a lot there. And then I keep Broken Kill as a supportive set that I have. Rutland Arena is efficient to farm as well because Rutland Arena is with Broken Kill. I try to keep as much of that. Panakandy Land of Dreams, this is one of my like favorite sets in the game. I think energy restoration rate is just so generic. And on top of that, they give us like this free increased damage 10% for all other stuff. In fact, I like Sprightly Von Weg because of the energy restoration rate, but the second effect was like so bad that I don't really like keep Sprightly Von Wegs nowadays because I just find Panakandy Land of Dreams way more versatile, and I would like want to upgrade anyway. So I'm just showing you that I'm just gonna go ahead and further them. So that's like some of the thought process I have on the main stats. Other than that is what's the thought process of how do I roll my gear to like check them? Because that's something that not many people talk about. And let me just show you on, for example, a link rope that I am trying to farm. So good ones like energy restoration rate, even if it's a dog shit one on Panakandy Land of Dreams, I probably will still keep it. But let me show you like an in-between one. Let's demonstrate with Firmament Frontline Glamour. This one here, this attack. So this is a generally useful one. For most characters, I'll keep it. So let me just show you what I'll do. Assuming that this was on a less desirable set, let me just shove a few things in. Let me just keep this. And let me just shove this for EXP. I always like to check the fourth line. If it's a link rope like this, 3 open with like crit rate inside, it could be useful. I always like to push it to 3 to at least like check the fourth. If it comes out like this and you are a player that doesn't have a lot of this gear, you might still want to keep it because the main stat is still very versatile. You can swap it around easily. But for me, I have a couple of them already, so I'm just gonna go ahead and junk this. And then straight away we move on to like the next one on the account. So I don't have any more Firmament Frontline, but I can do a Rutland Arena to showcase as well. No, I don't have any of that. So as you can see, I tend to like push up my attack percentage stuff very, very quickly because attack percentage is like very, very useful. So most of them, as you can see, that I'm keeping now are no longer attack percentage. Maybe I can do a couple of like defense ones here, just to show you the thought process of how I do it. So for example, let's say I like this one here. This looks pretty good, right? Break effect with crit rate, crit damage, attack in the subs. So I'm going to go ahead and check it out at 3. So I'll dump this in. For those 4-liners, I always like to check. It rolls in crit damage, is fantastic. So I will definitely go and try to push it to 6. And at this point, it's like it rolls 1 here. So because it's a 4-liner, I don't mind. I just take it as I was trying to check for what's the remaining substats. So let me just go ahead and slot in some stuff. I do need to throw in some off for the... So I tend to not want to take those. I tend to like taking like these stuff instead. The 4-piece, as mentioned, is way more easy to farm. Speed I like keeping. I'll go ahead and take out this defense one because these are a bit tricky with crit rate for DOT characters. I don't think it's going to be easy to find. HP here, I don't think this will be very useful either. So let me just take that out. And now it rolls into attack. Defense attack, I don't like the split scaling. I don't think the probability of using this is very high. I'm taking it out even though it's a pretty nice sub here. Rolled quite nicely at first. So I take that out. And then I check for another one. I generally go from shittiest to mediocre. The best one, you already will probably upgrade them. So checking the shittiest first, this helps you decide whether your junk is immediately junk. The worst part is if it's half junk, half good, you keep it and then you are left with a +9 that is in your account, which is super inefficient. So now let me just check another one. Let's see a Rutland Arena here. I'll just take it straight away to like +8 because I don't have resources. Normally this is not efficient. It opens up into crit damage. Let me find another one to toss in. Let's toss in this HP one. Okay, and at this point I would say that this is probably a keeper already. I would most likely keep this because it's like a +9 with a decent amount of crit rate, crit damage. And this forms like my defense gear already to hedge that risk of one day if there might be a defense character in the game and stuff like that. So let me just dump in, for example, let's see whether you can get any resources. So this one's like pretty strong, right? Attack percentage means that with crit rate, crit damage. That's why I kept it. And other than that, yeah, I think do I have anything else to dump? Yeah, the rest are all okay-ish. Maybe this one. This one is like all over the place for a break effect set. So let me just dump this in. And it turned out pretty well. No, maybe it's just the video's luck. So we have a pretty nice one. One day if there's a good crit rate, crit damage, scaling, defense scaling character, I think this will be very useful. And then you don't have to care about anything else already. Like for this one over here, I'm not even going to bother like rolling this up. Because in order to beat this, I need to gacha so much more resources. So straight away, it increases the efficiency of my account by so much. Do I think there's going to be 2 defense characters that skill off crit rate, crit damage that one's the Rutland? Maybe. But do I think it's worth it to keep it? Or maybe I'll just check since this is a 4-liner. Potentially it could be very good. And straight away you get HP, I'm not going to try. So it's like straight away out of the window because it won't be better than this one here. And that's like my thought process. How I just like make it a lot more efficient. Get one for the hopium, and that's pretty much it, and that's how I check my account. If you guys found this video helpful, check out our previous video on the channel where we talk about efficiency of farming what domain. I give you a lot of data in that one to help back up what we say, and it really echoes a lot what we are seeing when we are salvaging. But I hope you guys found this video helpful, and like and subscribe for more such future content. See you in the next video.